Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to episode 222 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, with co-host Zach Carlson. This is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Hey, Zach, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. We're making this a habit. I wanted to call in sick. I'm man sick here. I have a sore throat.
Hey, I'm recording on my birthday. So
that's right. Happy birthday. Happy, 98 years old?
It depends if I have the heart and internal organs of a 90-year-old.
Right. It's like when Homer goes in for his doctor's appointment, and they're like, how are you still alive?
One of my brothers texted me today, and he's like, hey, birthday. I was like, hey, I'm just hoping science I'll outlive science so I can take something to cover for all my neglect.
That's a real trick. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to outlast science.
Or wait for science to catch up to you? Or
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Hopefully one day we'll have a shot that give us turn back time.
Outlasting science would be something like Planet of the Apes or something. You know, you blew it up.
That might happen too.
So what'd you do in guns?
Oh, always something. But I've been hemming and hawing over safe organization. I was doing a big run there where I had a lot more pistols than I had rifles. So my safe didn't really matter because all my pistols I was hanging by hooks. And I finally decided I was starting to get more rifles in, and I thought, this is not going to work. I was using those. You ever seen those rods, the rifle rod storage, where you put the rod down on the bore and it has a little disc of Velcro, and then you just pop it up to your carpeted ceiling of the safe, and it holds the rifle so you don't need a rest for them to lay against.
Okay.
I've been using those, and that works really good if you have like a normal rifle, but I'm getting a lot of little shorty guns, and the rods, you either have to prop up the stock like on an Apple box or something to get it up higher so that it doesn't flex the rod too much. So it was kind of been hemming and hawing about it, and so I finally broke down and I bought from Secure It Gun Storage. I bought a bunch of their safe accessories. So I've got that incoming. It probably won't make it next week, but the week after or so after that, I'd like to talk about it after I get some good impressions of it. But I'll try to shoot a video of it when I put it in there. They basically do like the louvered panels. You know those Acro bins? I think you had a whole shelving unit like that, my old ones back in the day. But that style, right. They're like a louvered metal. I guess they have the similar thing. I don't know if Acro and that interchanges, but they make this panelized system that has rifle barrel rests, and it has little stock cups that you can put the stock down into, and they have a rack for pistols that have a bunch of pegs, so I can put 11 pistols really tightly densed together, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited about it. I think it'll really give me ability to expand. So the kit I bought does the whole back wall of the safe. And then if I need more storage after that, I can expand to the side walls of the safe and add more, so I can do like a full horseshoe of rifles.
So it's like a flat panel that you somehow attach to. How do you attach that to the back of the safe then?
I'm going to use drywall anchors because that's essentially what a gun safe is inside, is drywall. But I think a lot of people actually use like industrial Velcro. You can put the Velcro on the back of the panel and then it'll stick to the carpeted walls. But I'm going to probably anchor it. So it's going to be basically 4 panels, 2 panels wide and 2 tall, and that'll cover the full height and most of the width of the safe in the back. And then, so once you have those metallic louvered panel attached to the back wall, then it's just a matter of mixing and matching all the accessories and moving the bins and rifle holders to and fro, and just kind of however you want to configure it, that's a nice thing. Because I was like, I thinking, oh man, with all my woodworking tools, I can just make a cubby system and do whatever I need. But then the next time I need another rifle space that's different length, it's just going to be a nightmare to try to keep reconfiguring it. So I have that coming. Hopefully that works as much as I think it will, because it's very, very expensive. We could have a couple guns for how much it costs, but it is what it is. Hopefully it's a one-time deal. I said that the last time too. And And then I'm actually tomorrow, I think I'm going to go shoot that Tika T1X. So hopefully I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
How are you?
Well,
Did you actually do something gun related?
Did I
Kill another defenseless animal?
No, so here's what I did. I lost my concealed carry extra magazine. I lost it for 3 days. That's what I did.
It in the toilet?
No, it was under my chair.
You didn't hear it fall?
No, I looked all over for it. I'm like, did I wash it? I swore I washed it, and I couldn't find it. And yeah, it ended up, it must have been like in the recliner, and then it eventually fell out. But like I felt down in the sides of the recliner couch and everywhere else I could think. And that's like the third time I've done it. I've lost a magazine. I'm like, I really hope I didn't lose this at a store, because then I'm like, did the police get it? Did they fingerprint it? Just, your mind goes to all these places. And then, no, it's just under my chair.
Was it a spare magazine? Do you carry a spare mag with you?
Yeah, my spare mag. I just carry it loose in my pocket, which is part of the problem.
You got more dedication than I do. I can never get on the extra mag train. It just so much work.
Well, I basically carry a revolver capacity, so I have to have an extra mag.
That's true.
And then
that's the problem. That's what you get when you carry a 45.
Well, here's the thing. Since we moved, normally I have an extra mag on my desk, on my dresser, in my truck, because I have a bunch of extra mags. I normally have them loaded in all those places, just in case. But since we moved, I don't know what box all those are in, so I only have the one. And I went to the local sporting goods store to see about buying one, and they're like $40 there for an XDS magazine. I'm like, what? And so I
is that the rural tax basically, or is that what they normally go for these days?
I don't even know what they go for. I'm like, Clock magazines are 20 or less. I'm not going to pay you that for double that for Springfield. So, yeah, there's that. So yeah, not really anything in guns. But Patriot Patch Company makes this episode possible, and we do sell guns or patches with guns on them.
You sell guns? Oh, there's some people that'd be interesting to see that. Is this a gun running, or
we do not sell guns? Don't tell Facebook.
Yeah.
And the Ghost Gun patches, they came in a little late. Apologies for pre-orders, but those are now shipped. But the Ghost Gun 2.0 patches are in stock, and then we just shipped the November patch of the month, and those went out today. So look for those in your mailbox, or you can subscribe at patriotpatch.co.
I just saw a picture of you had that Ghost Gun patch shooting a pumpkin patch. That worked out pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, so you even had it on the right side, so it was exploding the right direction.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite patches. Main topic this week, prepper realities. We're talking about a little bit different, not really a prepper show, but we're going to kind of rag on some of the prepper stuff and maybe try to make some sense of some real life scenarios and what to do, what not to do. And this will be a little briefer episode, and we might dive more into this later. But
is that Jack guy still doing Spearco or whatever? Is he still doing that podcast?
Yeah, is that the survival podcast? He used to do that. He used to broadcast that driving to work in his car down in Texas, and then he built it into like this prepper empire and quit his day job. And I think he's still. Yeah, I think I saw him on some documentary recently. I'm like, who the hell is that crazy looking guy? And I looked it up, and it was Jack Spearco. I'm like, oh, okay.
Huh. I used to listen to him when I was at work in Illinois, so that had to be almost 10 years ago now. So he's still doing it. Yeah, November 1st, 2019, he just posted an episode.
Yeah.
Episode 2543. Holy moly. Wow, and the end of the world hasn't come in all of that time. Crazy. Okay, anyway, sorry.
So yeah, let's talk about some things to consider first. I think this is one thing a lot of people don't think about or kind of gloss over, and that's the population density that you're living in.
Did you get these numbers from the Internet Science site Wikipedia?
So these numbers are actually from, I got some numbers here, and they're actually from U.S. Census Bureau. Legitimate sources, Zach, but maybe some later infos from Wikipedia. So I brought up some population density maps here to check out, and the one that it compares, it'll allow you to compare different regions and areas to the New York City total area, which has a total area of 469 square miles and a population of 8.18 million people in that area.
Are they using New York City as like the most dense example? Is that pretty much most dense populated?
I assume that might be what they're doing, although I think areas of LA might be just as much, if not more. But for anyways, argument's sake, one of the most densely populated areas in the world, probably. And I compared that to the region we're from in Chicagoland, where it includes about 11 counties. It's not all of Chicagoland, but included the county we were in and the surrounding counties, and then some of the more eastern counties that also incorporate Chicago itself. And that's 7,935 square miles with a population of 7.76 million people.
So going from 469 square miles all the way up to 7,935 miles. So like 7,500 extra square miles, and it's still not even the same population.
Right. A little bit under that of a 469 square mile radius of New York City. And then you pop out to where I moved to here, which includes a multi-state region to get close to the same population figure. It includes North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, parts of Wyoming, and actually parts of Nebraska, Montana, not those whole states, but good portions of those. And that is 295,000 square miles with a population of 7.74 million. So you're jumping basically jumping 288,000 square miles, somewhere around there.
That's a lot. That's insane. So it's going from 79.35 to 295.58. That is a huge jump. So, I mean, well, it's probably because people realize it's cold there and no fun to live there.
It's not really any colder. I mean, Illinois just got dumped on by snow, and we haven't even had anything but flurries yet. So, joke's on them.
But it's the Windy City, remember? Okay, so where are you going with this? What does this mean to people?
A lot of people that are big-time preppers are in these larger metropolitan areas. Maybe not New York City, but definitely within a Chicagoland type region, whether it's Dallas, Atlanta, Denver, or there's a big city. I mean, you got this huge area of population density that people are going to be one of your major obstacles in some of these.
Yeah, but think of all the people that are in New York City. They're already used to the zombie horde. They have the whole homeless population to deal with. They're prepping every day.
Right.
Here's you're out in the boonies with no human interaction. They're living human interaction.
So we'll get a little more into population density, playing a little bit of what we're talking about here, but I think it's really something, because of multiple reasons, but, shared resources, security. I mean, when you get that many people living that close together, you just have, lots of concerns. So for example, when we lived in Illinois, we lived in town, but not like a super crowded neighborhood or anything, pretty much a south end of town. And it was a nice neighborhood and everything. But, in my mind, if we ever did have an EMP type scenario where everything went down and, basically be anarchy after a while, my idea was not to stay there. It was to bug out to my parents' farm, to get away from as many people as possible. And there's other reasons for that too, because then you can grow your own food, and then you have a smaller community of, an agricultural community that has resources at hand there too, instead of a Walmart with empty shelves. So there's a few different reasons to look at, population density and like where exactly you are, even in less populated areas. But we'll kind of jump back into the population density as we go here. To go along with that is migration routes of people. Like, if you're into a EMP type scenario, think Walking Dead, everyone's walking out of Atlanta.
I was thinking Zombieland, but okay.
Have you seen the new one? I haven't seen it yet.
No, a guy that works at it. It was really good, so I should probably go see it.
Cool. We're going to talk extreme scenarios and not so extreme scenarios, but for the extreme stuff, that's stuff to consider too. Like, you could be on this beautiful piece of property out in the country, but if you have a main interstate that is fairly close to it, then how secure are you really? And then for fun, there's this thing called a nuke map if you really want to get extreme.
Fun is in quotes on that, right?
Wait, you don't like to put in your zip code and then see what different nuclear bombs will do to your neighborhood?
I had never even considered it until I saw this link, and now I can't stop clicking.
It's interesting. It's called like nuclearsecrecy.com or something, right?
Yeah, super sketchy name.
But you can put in, it'll show like the fallout maps and everything of any like zip code you put in.
Yeah, and you can see how much how the fallout. You can say, hey, is it going to be an air burst? Is it going to be a surface strike? You could put the wind speed and direction. It's like, this is like the wet dreams of Jack Spirko, probably.
Other things to consider is climate. If you're in a more arid or even desert type climate, that could be more difficult because water is a main concern. Bonus points in those categories too is it will naturally keep people away. Things to consider: agriculture. Are there grain crops stored in silos in the community? That could be a huge resource. Or is it like a fruit?
That goes bad after a while, though, right?
Well, it can last. It can last several years stored properly, especially if you grind it up and then restore it in better containers. Or if you're like in the South or in California, fruit tree regions, or cattle farming regions, someplace where the population density is small enough where, all the cattle won't instantly get ate, but where you could maybe maintain a cattle population. Then like natural resources like trees for firewood, water sources, wild animals to hunt, all things to consider.
So you're basically saying the best place would be Texas, where you can just shoot hogs all day, every day, and eat pork every single day.
Yeah. Well, you won't have like a helicopter or vehicles to run them down, so it'll be a little harder. How
many AA's do I need to stockpile to keep my night vision working?
Well, it depends. Is your night vision EMP proof?
Maybe.
Is it currently buried in your backyard wrapped in tinfoil?
No. But would the trunk of my car keep it contained sufficiently with a sheet metal?
I don't know. That's There's all kinds of questions like that when it comes to EMPs. We're having fun with some of this. Last thing to consider is skills you can barter with in your community in a worst case scenario. Because you're not going to have your job anymore, right? I won't be able to sell patches online anymore. Zach, you won't be able to sell gun parts online anymore.
So this sounds like the best part of the apocalypse, right? Everybody's retired?
Yeah, early retirement. Yes.
Unpaid early retirement.
I think that's actually what a lot of people envision. Like, it would be so much easier and better. Well, let's get into, I guess, one of the biggest issues, water. Water, if one of these big worst case scenarios happens, you need a half a gallon of water per day just to drink. That's 15 gallons per person per month. And then, but the reality check is we use way more water than that per day now.
Oh, by far, yeah.
An average family uses 65 gallons per day per person, so it's 2,000 gallons per month per person. And I actually calculated my water bill today and looked at the past water bills because I'm out here in the boonies. I have to calculate my own water bill looking at the meter. But I average between a family of 7 here. We average between 8,000 and 14,000 gallons of water per month.
Ooh, okay. So you make me look like an entitled American here because I just pulled up my September bill, and now we do have water lawn. We water our lawn and that was still during that month. So we consumed 25,000 gallons.
Whoa. A family of what? 3?
3?
In a modern,
what a beautiful green lawn.
Modern, energy-efficient home.
Yeah, brand new house.
Do you just
5-year-old house.
Do you leave the shower on all day? I mean, how do you do that?
This is even worse. I pulled the month before that. It was 44,000 gallons. Month before that, 37,000 gallons. Okay, this is not helping my case here. Okay,
so when I pull up in your neighborhood, is you're the only yard that's green? Like everyone else is brown?
No, everybody else unfortunately is also probably using the same amount. But I guess I like my showers too.
Wait, can I ask what you pay for a water bill on average?
Well, it's water and sewer together, but the water portion of that, let's see, they do break it out. The last water bill that was 25,000 gallons was the actual water portion of it was $42. Then sewer was $52, so it was $95.15 total.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, because out here we pay about $85 a month just for water.
Well, I'm in the socialist utopia of Washington, so
it's subsidized by other poor people's tax dollars.
Yeah, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, I think, are providing the water to the peasants.
Do you get?
Anyways, where were you going with the water? Before I derailed you.
So, Zach, what are you going to do if EMP happens and no power, no water, you don't even have a well? What then?
I do not. I think I would use my precision rifle skills and acquire said water.
But how?
Is this like the purge, right? Where all crime is legal for a certain amount of time?
I mean, sure, you can find it, but how are you going to get it back to your house?
Well, they don't make trucks. Those old water trucks that are old and EMP proof.
Yeah, good luck.
Hey, I've seen Tremors. I know they have those vehicles.
Well, you need to find a neighbor that's like the guy in Tremors to be your buddy. Then you'll be good.
Guy a couple doors down is an old Air Force guy, and he kind of reminds me a little bit of that.
Always a thought, living in Illinois, if we bugged out to my parents' house, then they have a well, but if you don't have power, how do you get water out of the well? And like you can get kits where you run a tube down the well and you hand pump it, and like it doesn't fit all wells though, and like their well is like super deep. It's hundreds and hundreds of feet deep. It's like 300 and something or 600 and something. I forget, but it's very deep.
That's deep.
So, but then there's like a creek that's like a quarter mile away. Like, well, I guess you could haul it with 5-gallon buckets, and that's not very ideal. But I guess if you had to, you had no other choice. There at least would be a creek within walking distance. But then flash forward, and so we're out here on the farm now. We have a little bit of acreage here. We have a well. Yes, we have a well, and we pay for water.
Yeah, how does that work?
Well, supposedly the well water here is only good for animals, and like only some animals because it's so hard.
Oh, so that'll be good for you in the apocalypse.
Well, so like this well, I could get a tube down it and do a hand pump, so that could be an option for the future. And we do have a creek that's just a few hundred feet from the house. But then again, there's cattle out there that are going to the bathroom in it and stuff. So, like, how do you filter that on a large scale basis and stuff like that? So there's all kinds of concerns you have, even if you have a water source. How do you manage it? The other thing we have here is a cistern. A water cistern that's under the house. And really all the houses around here back in the day that were built 100 years ago had a water cistern where they would store water. And that's something that, I could clean that up and make that work again, make the house gutters go into it again, and figure out a filtration system for it. So, like, there are options, but, like, all those options require a massive amount of work in some way.
Well, that's what the whole thing with productivity in the humankind, when we got all those systems figured out, where you didn't spend 6 of your 8 hours just doing that stuff to basically survive. But actually, as you were saying cistern, that made me think, my actually in-laws, they live on a 20-acre parcel. And it's up in the mountains, so it's it's on like a low portion and a high portion is all on their property. And on the high side, there is they call it a water barn. It's actually a barn. It looks like a barn from the outside, but when you go in it, it's got a wood floor and you lift it open, and there's just two huge concrete vaults that go down probably 10 or 12 feet down.
Yeah.
And it's the whole floor plan of the barn. It's in two cistern styles. And that's piped down into another cistern by the house. And they have two wells down lower pumping into it too. So in theory, they have a well as well and nowhere to power it, I guess, without, some sort of solar system or hand system. But
well, that's higher. As long as those stay filled, originally that would have been gravity fed to the house.
Yeah, there's a creek up top there that fills that cistern. So, and then the water runoff in the mountains, in the season changes fills those up too, I believe.
Yeah. So, I mean, that'd be a good option. Is that someplace you could bug out to on foot?
Do you want to live with your in-laws?
Well, no, but I mean, if you had to.
Well, if you had to, I guess. Yeah, no, I could walk there and, well, it's like, it takes 15 minutes to drive there. So, yeah, you could walk there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, there you go. Zach's a prepper denier, but we'll get him turned around here. Well, I mean, a lot of this, I mean, you watch these prepping shows, these extreme prepping shows, or these homestead shows, and a lot of these things that people are doing are just silly, Anyways, we'll jump back in the water a little more later, but reality, what is the likelihood? Which disaster scenario to prep for? That's a real problem here. There's so many disasters. Which one do we prep for?
For me, diabetes, probably.
Well, we'll get into that in the realistic column, but in the big ones, flood, hurricane, tornado, wildfires, some of them like hurricane and that might be something people experience on a somewhat regular basis, even flood, depending on where your property is built, or wildfires. I guess you got a lot of those out there, Zach.
Yeah, we deal with the wildfires, and that's super common for us. It happens almost every year here.
Then you get into some of the big ones, but are less likely big ones. So EMP, civil unrest, drought, famine, financial collapse, virus contagion, zombies. Did I miss any big ones?
Earthquake,
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's huge. These are all regional, really. A lot. I mean, there's very few places that have, the trifecta of any of these. It's usually you have hurricanes, but you don't have something else,
Well, I mean, if California had all of them, it'd be sunk in the ocean by now. Travel and all the above scenarios, will you even be home when, the crap hits the fan? That's kind of a big question. Like, how do you get home if you're not home? If there's no power, no vehicles, in like an EMP situation or something like that. So, anyways,
you're stuck on this EMP situation.
I'm so stuck on EMPs. Come on, Zach. You saw the nuke maps.
Yeah, I didn't have an EMP map though.
Well, just take a nuke and explode it in the atmosphere instead of on the ground, and then you have an EMP. All right, so let's get into realistic ones. These would be much more likely. I'll even throw in Zach's diabetes. Lose a job.
That's a huge one. What if Amazon says no gun-related product for you, even if it has a picture of a gun?
Well, I mean, they've done that for baby apparel for me. I can't do kid and baby stuff with offensive guns on them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Lame.
Super lame. But yeah, lose a job or just reduced income. Think how many of us are paycheck to paycheck or worse going into debt, and then you lose income. I mean, when you're working for the post office, they cut me $10,000 for the year. I mean, that's
crazy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I think not even reduced income, even if you just had huge bills, like don't they say the highest rate of bankruptcy is like medical bills, stuff that you're liable for, and that could ruin you. You're one cancer diagnosis away from just being financially wrecked.
Or not even that, an actual wreck, like a car wreck that you get medical bills from. Yeah, good point. So reduced income, lose a home. You could have those things happen, then lose a home, then bankruptcy, divorce, disability, death. I put death on here.
If you have death, it's no longer your problem.
Well, it's your family's problem, though. I think a lot of this, if we're married or if we're in a family situation, this pertains to our spouse or loved ones. So, they would still be here in the case of our deaths. So that's why I put that on here, is that, that's a very realistic one that a lot of people don't plan well for. And not saying we're planning well for all of the above either. This is all stuff we probably have to work on too. I know I do.
I definitely fear losing a job because it's I'm in a business that can be legislated away with a signature. We could be out of business tomorrow if something goes crazy. Think of Slide Fire Solutions. They had a booming, fantastic business for bump stocks, and then Vegas happened, and now that company is no more, as far as I know. So that could totally happen to us too.
So let's talk about some proactive things we can do, like just basics. Let's call these practice rounds. Because we like to. A lot of us like to. I know, Zach, you don't do this, but when we get into something, we buy everything for this hobby and kind of go
never
crazy
the mid-level
on it.
either. You got to go top.
Right. Never the entry or mid-level prices, all the way to the top.
Those are for the poors.
Yeah. The poors that don't have credit cards that we can keep charging on.
Yeah.
So let's start with some easy stuff here. Like maybe start with prepping for a 3 to 5 day power outage. California, I'm talking to you.
Yeah. That's insane. I mean, I listen to a lot of tech podcasts and everything, and a lot of those guys are in California, and they're talking about their experiences of just having to deal with that for just, it seems almost like vindictive reasons by the company, but they had to pay out for lawsuits in years past or whatever. But that's insane. But when you say prepping for a 5 day power outage, aren't you just talking about camping?
Well, how many people can even camp anymore without an RV?
God, well, this is a total serious thing. I would probably, I wouldn't die, but I'd be very bad because I have a CPAP. Mine powered, but I'm tethered to a wall. They do make battery powered ones, but you still got to be able to charge the batteries.
Wait, do they make EMP proof? That's your new business, EMP proof CPAP machine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I gotta go. See ya. I'm gonna work on my business idea.
So. Stock more things of what you already use. Maybe build up your pantry. That could be a small step. A small garden.
Sorry, we got to cover some of these. Do you do the stocking up thing?
Yeah, we try to. Like things we use pretty consistently, like rice. Rice is an easy one. If you have at least one meal a week with rice as a portion of it. Maybe 1 to 2 meals a week. Then you can buy the big 20-pound bags of rice. You can buy several of them and just work through them. And
we've tried to do that. And when I lived in Idaho, I was more into this. I was single, and I would literally write with a Sharpie on a canned good when I bought it, and then theoretically cycle through it. And then when we moved in here to Washington, there was cans that were 4 years old and then had never been touched. I'm like, why did I buy this? So and even our pantry here that's next to the fridge is one of those kind of deep cabinets. It's full height, floor to ceiling kind of thing, but it's super deep. And I find if I put anything extra back in there, it's like a cabinet to Narnia. It is gone. There is, we will eventually every so often just pull everything out of it and then look at all the expired stuff. And there's so much crap in there. I'm actually thinking about building some wood drawer units for those that we can pull full length out to actually get to stuff in the back. And that would help us be able to do the rotation of product like that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. That's part of the reality of this prepping thing. How many people that have quote unquote prepped over the years have tons of expired stuff. Even the long-term storage stuff isn't that long-term storage when the years start ticking by,
Well, I had a bug out bag from Illinois. It was in a LA police gear jumbo bailout bag. You remember those bags?
Yeah.
And I took it out and I was just I had those Mountain House meals in there, and you would think they're pretty long, but they were already past their expiration by far. Mm-hmm. So I threw a lot of that stuff away. I ate one of them just to see what it'd be like, and it was still edible. It just wasn't, good. But yeah, you gotta rotate that stuff.
So yeah, I mean, and this is just the easy stuff that we fail on. I mean, wait till we get into the more serious proactive steps. But for I guess back to the power outages. I mean, that's what would that entail? This is more of a realistic scenario, not EMP proof or anything. But having maybe a generator, having some extra water, having a plan?
The generator is one thing I wish I would have financed into the house. A lot of our neighbors have them piped in because we have natural gas here. So, they can just run on natural gas and they sit beside your garage and pipe into your whole house. And I didn't really think about it at the time, and I could barely afford the house as is. So I didn't really think about any extras like that. But looking at it now, I would have totally done it because we have had a few times where there's been a 2 or 3 day, or I guess 2-day power outage here. And it's terrible. Like it is, you don't realize how much of a stone age you're living in without power until you actually experience it. And it's one thing in the summer, but in the winter, it's deadly here.
Yeah, absolutely. A generator is something that I never invested in until just this week. I just got one delivered today. So that's a whole new thing for me. And I actually got one that's a dual fuel, so you can use gas or you can hook up a LP tank for a grill.
Oh, that's cool. And are you trying to backfeed into something, or are you just plugging stuff specifically into it? It's not like a whole house inverter switch one, right?
Right. No, it's not, although my outside meter breaker box is set up for that, where you can turn off the outside power and turn on generated power and have everything hooked up.
Now that you say this, my in-laws' house does have a whole house generator as well, and they have a propane tank. They're in the country, so they have a delivered propane tank.
Yeah.
Maybe my in-laws are secret preppers, and I just don't know it.
Or maybe they just have common sense, Zach.
Ouch. Okay. You could say that now that you've got a generator and I don't, so you could say that.
Well, I didn't even think of that. I have a big LP tank that is for a furnace, so I could hook that to the generator in scenario. But I mean, it's not a huge one or anything. I got it just for running. I could run the furnace and the fridges, and that's about it. Yeah. Back to some more of these easy ones. Maybe talk about some financial ones. Get out of debt. Save for the future, pay off the house early, and then get to know your neighbors, develop a bug out plan if you need to. All those things are, things you should probably be doing no matter what, but it would be good first steps in a prepper mindset, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you get into the proactive steps of, I think it's location. Move to a more rural area if you need to. Zach and I both moved from DeKalb County, Illinois, with a population of 104,000 people. And then, I guess you put where you moved to?
Yeah, I'm in Spokane. I just was put in for reference. Yeah, so we had 105,000 in DeKalb County, Illinois, and I'm in Spokane County, which is a huge county, and it's part of Spokane too. So I'm on the outskirts of that, but we're 500,000 total.
Land wise, it's a huge county, lot more acreage than where we came from.
Yeah, I would believe so. I'd have to look that up to make sure, but yeah.
But in comparison, where I moved to here in the undisclosed county in South Dakota, has a population of just under 7,000. So it came from 105,000 to just under 7,000. So almost dropped 100,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With people comes crazy, comes disorder, dysfunction, especially when times are bad. I think the more rural you can move, and for Zach's area, you're on the outskirts. As long as you get to know your neighbors and have a good plan there, you're probably okay as well. But I think when you're in the bigger city centers, I just don't see a solution unless you can bug out.
Do you think like places that have a high ratio of ex-military people are better?
I would think so.
I mean, you would think so, right? And so, there's got to be a lot of those centers, like where's all the bases, like North Carolina and all those kind of places where there's bases.
Well, I mean, they're either going to help you or they know how to kill you and take your stuff. So, I mean,
yeah. If they lick their lips when they see you and be like, "Ooh, you're going to be good," like that's probably not a great sign.
That's why all these ex-military guys are on all these prepper groups, so they get all these fat guys from the suburbs that are stocking up all this stuff, and then they don't have to do any work.
Yeah. Let the meat come to you.
Right.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Water collection system makes sense. I think you could do that a lot. A lot of people can do that, right? I mean, just their gutters.
At the same time, it's kind of like the canned goods and stuff. You got to, develop how you're going to harvest the water or collect it and then store it, keep it clean or clean it, not really an easy step. It's something you really have to think through and actually figure out how you're going to use it. Because so many things in the prepper world are just store, and you never use it.
Well, for a lot of people, it's kind of like their own little hobby. They just kind of make it an expenditure for themselves and fantasize about it a little bit.
Yeah. So larger scale gardening is also on the list, or even raising your own livestock. Maybe if you're in an area where you have neighbors raising livestock, you can raise similar or complementary livestock to what they have. Or you could even get into small, scale farming where you're possibly harvesting some of your own grain, storing it in your own grain bins. That to me would be like the kind of the ultimate. Like if you had your own like little mini hobby farm and you're raising like basically the circle of life in your front yard, then you're good to go, right?
I guess, but in my mind, all of this is for naught with. You ever see those memes where it's like a guy that's like ready for the boogaloo and he's got like, he's got nods and primary weapons AR and he's ready. He's got
full
multicam and everything. And then he gets stabbed by a guy with a Mosin with a bayonet on it. It's like, he's like, not like this, and he's thinking he's going to have this huge firefight. And then, but in the reality is like, a tweaker with a knife can end it all for you. It's like, I don't know. To me, it just seems like a lot of work.
See that's why it always, for me, comes back to population density. There's a lot less tweakers here now as opposed to more populated area.
Yeah, I suppose. But in a lot of the rural areas I've been in, there's still drugs everywhere, and there's some still weird people. But I guess I've never been to South Dakota where you're at. But
oh yeah, no weird people here at all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Actually, we're probably the weird people here.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I guess it all makes sense. And it's kind of like eating right and exercising. Like it sounds great in theory, but it's a lot of work.
Well, exactly. That's the reality check for this prepping podcast. Is we can listen to podcasts like Jack Spirko and other prepping material, and we can really get into it and buy all the stuff. But at the end of the day, how prepped are you, and are you prepped for the right disaster? I mean, is a disaster more likely to come to you? Like we were saying, a loss of a job, reduced income, an accident, things like that, where maybe you've invested $20,000-$30,000 in prepping material, but then you could have used that to recover from a job loss or something, like that.
Wouldn't that be the irony? Or I always think of it like, oh man, I'm going to get all this stuff and then I'll die of a heart attack, like overexerting myself doing something to like, lifting the pails of rice up into the kitchen or something, and I'd croak because of that.
Yeah, folks, that's why Zach does not chop firewood. Heart attack risk. Can't risk it.
Yeah, I think it's all... what my point there is you basically have to make it a lifestyle almost. Like you have to incorporate it into your lifestyle. It can't be a thing that you're going to do or you do halfway. I think you kind of have to work it into your normal routine. Just like, working out. Like nobody likes to work out until they do it and make it part of their routine. And then it's just kind of the new normal and it's now your lifestyle.
Right, exactly. So how far are you willing to go? Not very.
I use 45,000 gallons of water to make my yard turn green. And then I have to pay somebody to cut the damn grass. So it's circle of life in the negative way.
Yeah, that's not working out for you, is it?
It's all right. It's comfortable. But I got this really cool gun I want to show you.
Well, I mean, you got enough guns to barter for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, it's like one of those deals where you like Dr. Jones, give me the diamond, and then he gives him the diamond, and then he poisons him and takes the diamond back. It's like one of those deals, right? Like Doom.
All right, Zach's neighbors, take note.
Yeah, they probably should.
In a future episode, I'd like to dive into some of these offshoots we talked about, and maybe we'll have a segment, maybe on some episodes where I add some prepping stuff out here on the farm, and because I'd like to eventually get some type of wind power set up to either run the well or run somewhat of a generator system, because we get pretty decent wind, pretty consistent wind here. We'll explore that in future episodes, or not.
People should look at that. Remember, we had Rich Hayes on a few episodes before we took a break. Or I think that was the last episode before we took a break, wasn't it? And
yeah.
He has that survival channel on YouTube. Was it Through the Haze Survival, I believe? So he's kind of teaching you how to prep some of those things, or how to get by when you're out there doing it.
Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. You can check out the Patch of the Month Club at patriotpatch.co. Unique designs delivered to your mailbox every month. Exclusive designs only available via the Patch of the Month Club. Also check out Ryan Cross, Hunter of Design, if you need artwork design, website design, anything like that. hunterofdesign.com. Well, that about wraps us up. You can reach us at gunguyradio@gmail.com. I resurrected an old email apparently we had. So gunguyradio.
How many password resets did you have to do to get that thing back?
A couple. but I got it. So gunguyradio@gmail.com. Send us feedback. Be gentle, please. And don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows on the Firearms Radio Network. And also check out Zach's. Zach, tell us where they can find you.
I think people are clicking a lot through the YouTube, because I'm seeing them put comments and stuff. So I love that. See that. I check that probably once or twice a day just to make sure. And that's always good. And the Instagram is good for day-to-day pictures. I like to take neat pictures and put it up there. There's no kind of rhyme or reason to it, but I think it's very helpful.
Very cool.
I found our bad iTunes review, if you want to read it.
Oh, you found the bad iTunes review? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so this was an iTunes review that we found when we first started coming back, and we never really read the reviews, I don't think. Well, Jake might, and then cry himself to sleep sometimes, but this one is from Home iMac 4K, which is a very strange username, but okay. It says, episode 215, it's a 5-star review. The highest star rating possible in said star review system. But then it says, Zach needs another 3-year break. He's definitely not into guns.
Wait, I'm the one that needs a break, right?
I think he thinks you're me and I'm you, or we're in this crazy face-off situation. So I don't know if you're John Travolta and I'm Nick Cage, or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't know. We're both pretty fat now, so I guess it worked.
So, anyways, so I think, but there are some other good reviews above that, so that's nice.
Very cool. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.
All right. Oh, boy.
Did you have a Coke?
Yes.
Ooh, maybe the government's getting to you for this prepper talk. Maybe they shot you with a dart or something from the open window.